I've never been much of a gamer in my adult life. See, I spend too much time traveling, so a desktop console is always a waste of money, and mobile games have never really been my thing. Surely I have an iPad full of them, with most of these being the retro games that I grew up with in my teens, but I grew up also using hardware controllers, so gesturing on a display is really not what I'd call intuitive. At first, I tried to solve this with options like the Moga, which I would still be depending on today if it wasn't for the software being so hit or miss depending on the game. And then came the Nintendo Classic, which I fell in love with instantly. I mean, I always loved retro games like Mario, Ninja Gaiden. I could even play Ninja Gaiden for weeks, and I have. The only problem is that there is a limit of only 30 games, and there's only so much you can do with Ninja Gaiden and Mario. Honestly, it wasn't until Nintendo announced the Switch that the gamer spark that I left in my teens woke up again. Like seriously, a desktop console that can also become portable for a guy that travels like me? Oh my god, it was my first impulsive buy in years. And since we're mostly about mobile technology, we thought it was a good reason for us to expand our roots a little further. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocketnow, and this is our impression of the Nintendo Switch from a retro gamer's perspective. Now yes, we know that the Nintendo Switch has been out for a bit, so don't call this video a review. Call this more my rediscovery of gaming, as the Nintendo Switch is actually the first ever game console that I've ever bought. And honestly, I'm actually glad that I waited this long. So for $299, the Switch includes more in the box than pretty much any other competitor that I've ever seen. You get the tablet, which powers everything, a hub with HDMI in case you want to connect this to your monitor or TV, a pair of Joy-Cons that can become just one controller using the Joy-Con grip, or can be used as two separate controllers if you want, and there are even Joy-Con wrist straps to help you out with that. Like seriously, this is far better than just the console and one controller like you get everywhere else. Now really, the genius of this product lies in the versatility of its design. Slide the Switch into its hub and you can play with the Switch on your TV or monitor at 1080p resolution, with the Joy-Con serving as a single controller or multiplayer if you want. Now, you don't really need the hub though. The Switch actually includes a kickstand at the back if you would rather use it playing on any surface at 720p, and where multiplayer is still supported as you can use the Joy-Con separately. Now, if you snap these Joy-Cons on the left and right of this tablet, it turns into a portable game console. And by the way, all this works instantly. You don't really need to power it on or off. Now, I've heard a couple of reviews complaining about the plastic design or the flimsy kickstand, but I actually prefer it this way, as I would rather keep the hardware light for long gameplay while mobile. And then once you gaze around the hardware, you'll notice some very important essentials that I enjoy, like dual front-firing speakers at the front, or the option for a 3.5mm headphone jack if you want. And there is also USB Type-C if you'd rather charge it through a battery pack if you'd like. My favorite though is that games are very small cartridges that won't scratch. And there is also microSD expansion if you would rather download your games and keep everything in that storage. Now obviously, this is a game console, and what I love the most about it is the experience playing games. I love the graphics, I love the attention to detail, and it just seems like if this is not an underpowered tablet that you're buying or an underpowered mobile game. I've heard a few people asking why there isn't a web browser, and I'm like, no. Why should it have a web browser if all of us carry a smartphone these days? I would rather this be just a very good game console and that be it. This is my first time playing a game like Zelda, ever. Yes, really, and Breath of the Wild is just awesome. The story is so vast and so ever-changing that you could spend days playing it without boredom. Now, your mileage may vary though, as I am really a noob, so I've barely discovered a fraction of what this game can do, but my brother Oscar is an insane fan of Zelda. He's got arts, he's got toys, he's got everything, and he's played every single game of Zelda ever. So much so that he's pretty much already beat this game in the same amount of time that I've just discovered a few things. But I guess what I find the coolest about a game like Zelda is that this feels like reading a book. You're following a story. You could pretty much sit in your favorite chair at home and play, or bring it to the park, or continue your story while in a Starbucks or on the train. There is seriously a lot of genius into everything that the Switch can do, and the fact that it's able to do it seamlessly. Now, the experience, like with every product, is not perfect. On games like Breath of the Wild, your battery will probably only last around 3 hours, so make sure you bring a battery pack if you're planning on an extensive trip. And then there is the problem of complexity. I mean, the Switch has an insane amount of buttons, and games like Breath of the Wild require you to use pretty much every single one of them. And my biggest problem is the fact that I usually forget what these buttons can do if I stop playing the game for a couple of days. I know that for some of you hardcore gamers, the more buttons the better, but this can be rather daunting for new players like me. At times, it's even made me want to play other games as sort of a palate cleanser, and that's where the curse of the early adopter comes to play. I mean, I like the Nintendo strategy of launching a new flagship game every month. I mean, aside from a few old games from Neo Geo and Fast RMX, I haven't really found any other games that I would consider enticing. It would be awesome for Nintendo to provide support for legacy games from Nintendo like you can on the Wii U, but sadly at this point there is no promise for that anytime soon. Overall, even with its minor list of cons, the Nintendo Switch has been one of those purchases that I am not regretting one bit. In the busy world that we live in, the versatility of this console just fits right into the lifestyle of guys like me. I mean, it's not perfect, but we have to hand it to Nintendo for building the first ever desktop TV experience to a portable console. It's actually posed the question if we should branch out and start reviewing portable game consoles like these and the games that light them up, since, hey, Pocketnow is all about portability. If you haven't bought your Switch yet, I would highly recommend you do so. And we would love your feedback. I mean, would you like for us to start experimenting with games? Let us know in the comments down below. Folks, just like this, we've got more videos in the pipeline, so make sure you follow us on social media and hit that subscribe button down below for more videos like this one. You can also follow me on Twitter, Jaime_Rivera, or on Instagram at Jaime Rivera. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I am Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.